Thank you very much. Coming up after the break. Fresh from performing with Take That, Callum Scott takes us behind the scenes of last night's Coronation concert. Also up close with the King and Queen, I'll be joined by the photographer who took this iconic picture. And we've the inside story of Prince Harry's 28 hours in the UK and how he missed the toast to his son. All that plus BGT's Travis responding to those fix allegations after an incredible audition.
So it is written on the doorway to paradise, those who falter and those who fall. And I know she's up there, fondly keeping an eye on us, and she'll be a very proud mother. Pa, we are all so proud of you.
Good morning. As Prince William pays tribute to his father, Russell Myers and Jenny Bond are next with all the reaction to an extraordinary weekend. Also coming up, what you didn't see at last night's concert, King Charles making a cameo on American Idol. Tyler West has all the details on that. Also,
I'm going to be doing a number of things. One of them will be carrying the sword of state, so I've been doing some press-ups to train for that.
She was the unexpected star of the Coronation. We have the story behind Penny Morden's Arms of Steel.
So it must be, for so it is written on the doorway to paradise, those who fall.
He stunned the judges on Saturday night. BGT's Travis George is here answering those fix allegations.
Lord, let me find him.
First today, we are starting with last night's Coronation concert, which is dominating the front pages this morning, with most of them focusing on Prince William's tribute to his father. Pa, we are so proud of you. It was the culmination of an extraordinary 48 hours, which saw history unfold.
God save the King! Welcome to the Coronation concert!
I know she's up there, fondly keeping an eye on us, and she'll be a very proud mother.
And joining me now, Royal Editor Russell Myers and Royal Commentator Jenny Bond. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you both feeling today? It's been quite a weekend for both of you as well, hasn't it?
Been,
We're
yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
We're fine. Hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean, what a show last night. What a performance by everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about not only the King, the new Queen, the Wales' children, the real stars of the show this weekend. I mean, it's going to take a bit of time to digest, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like we say in the front of the papers today, Prince William's tribute to his father, which was, in fact, I find him very king-like and regal in his approach. I thought, oh, you can see that this is the future.
Very
and
much so.
Incredibly well.
You know, and we do need to sort of push it forward because, you know, King Charles is 74 years old, and I think he recognises that he's going to need a bit of help from the younger members of the firm to sort of. We've had a couple of years of this scandal and infighting, and I think he needs to try and sort that out and try to move forward. And he will need sort of William to be by his side to do that. But nice reflections back from the late Queen, paying tribute to her, saying that she would be really proud of her son.
And I think he was absolutely right, because you remember at the wedding of Charles and Camilla, the Queen made a very witty speech. It was the same day as the Grand National, and she said she was proud that they had managed to clear Beecher's Brook and the chair, and they were now in the winner's enclosure. So we know she was proud.
Yes, yeah, and that certainly came across. And last night I thought there was a real relaxed feeling to the family. They looked like they were enjoying themselves. We could see them all singing along. They were dancing, and King Charles himself looked like almost relieved it had got to that point.
I think so, very much, because we saw him sort of entering the Abbey. He was smiling. As the ceremony went on, he looked more and more nervous, I thought, that the sort of weight of the occasion was on him. But yesterday, everybody was up, having a bit of a dance. There was we saw Sophie dancing.
She can move.
She does, she can really move.
Absolutely, because there's nothing worse than trying to dance knowing people are looking at you. Not to mention millions of people watching. So I appreciated that. And little Charlotte singing along. Actually, it was Katy Perry's song particularly. They all got up and really loved it. So you just felt like we were all part of the same party.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, shout out to the kids, because again, they were the stars of the show, and I think that this sort of collaboration between the younger members, I mean, they're only sort of 8, 9 years old, but it's interesting. I thought the ceremony sort of pushed forward to the concert. I was surprised a little bit that we didn't get a shout out to Camilla. Were you?
I was thinking, is he going to mention Camilla? I think probably William felt that this day was, the whole weekend really, is about his father, and he wanted the focus to be on that. But there had been suggestions that he might mention Camilla.
I mean, that's certainly what I was told beginning of the planning for the ceremony and the concert, that there would be sort of a recognition of her devotion to duty, because she's had a hard time, you know. She sort of came through the mill, and it's been a bit of a PR masterclass, I suppose, for her journey. But we'll give her a shout-out anyway.
We will, but I think they probably recognise that there is division in the country still over Camilla, and they didn't want to risk that.
Of course, yeah. Well, you didn't want any kind of moment that everyone would pick up on today.
Exactly.
Obviously, it had to be a happy occasion. You were in the Abbey, of course, as well.
Very privileged.
How did that feel to be part of that? Watching it at home, I got a real sense, the music particularly, and the build-up even before King Charles arrived, I thought was incredibly moving.
Absolutely. I mean, just a huge privileged position. And I think when I look back on being in the Abbey for the Queen's funeral, it took me some weeks to digest what I'd witnessed. And again, I think that this will be exactly the same situation. But a coronation, millions of people watching. I think that Charles looked nervous in certain instances.
Nervous.
I think Camilla looked like she was pretty much loving it.
I thought she looked pretty anxious. She was anxious, I think, about
nervous
Charles.
smiles,
Well, she was hoping nothing would go wrong. They were both obviously thinking that. And you said that you enjoyed every single minute of it, and I did enjoy it, but it made me a bit on edge myself that something might go wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Well, there were so many little moments, just the walk up of the aisle of the Abbey, and actually when the crown went on to Queen Camilla, and you could see her fixing her hair.
Several
and
times.
that's such a natural thing, though, isn't it? Because you think it's heavy, it has to sit here for a while. The hair is annoying. There's all those little human moments, I think, that came across.
Yeah, I mean, even William said during the walkabout in Windsor yesterday that his father had a sore neck because the crowns are pretty heavy.
Very heavy.
And they'd been practising with them and with replicas, but
we wonder, don't we, whether William would want any kind of ceremony like that.
Yes.
I mean, parts of it looked a little out of kilter with modern life.
Well, that's actually very interesting then for next time around. What do you think will happen, Jenny? I'm guessing those discussions happen really quite soon.
I think it'll be very tricky because I think much of the country, not all of the country, much of the country really loved it and loved that kind of ancient ritual. And perhaps it is very important. But my goodness, some of it did look ancient. And I just think William is a more modern man.
Yeah. I think there'll be. I mean, this was the most diverse, inclusive ceremony, and they should be applauded for that. But when you have a ceremony that is 1,000 years old, it's going to look a bit archaic. It was a bit sort of wordy in the middle, perhaps. But they cut it down from 3.5 to 2 hours, and I think that when we eventually see King William it will be a very, very different ceremony.
Yeah, it was interesting watching it with my 4-year-old. There were lots of very comical questions. And why are they wearing that, mummy? And this, that. But Princess Charlotte stole the show for her, and they looked really good at the Abbey. And Charlotte particularly, my little girl, thinking it's a real life princess. So she thought this was fabulous.
But I mean, Louis is only 5 years old, and he was there for pretty much the duration of the ceremony. I mean, so tremendously behaved. Looked like he was having a great time back on the balcony as well. But I think that, you know, there will be the real stars of the show moving forward. They didn't put a foot wrong, the Wales is, and certainly one to look forward to for the future.
Well, Jenny, we all felt for Penny Mordaunt, didn't we? What a role she had that day, and a pivotal role, very front of camera for so much of it. And of course, holding that 8-pound sword, that is.
Yeah, that's pretty
for
hefty,
nearly an hour.
She's been doing press-ups, she said, didn't
yes,
she?
Yes, exactly.
But she looked fantastic. She did really steal the show. Everyone apparently stole the show, but anyway, she looked fantastic. And I noticed she was standing, I think, through a huge portion of that 2-hour service. So. Yeah, hats off to her.
Good for her. Harry, of course.
Yeah.
Just an interesting day, a very short day.
Well, a very short day for him. I mean, we thought he would be in and out, but that was about 24 hours. I mean, I had obviously the excuse of his son's birthday to fly back to, but very, very telling. I mean, what could have been? Because if it wasn't so acrimonious, his departure from the royal family, could he have been not relegated to the third row? I obviously don't think he would be. He could have gone to the reception. I imagine we're going to see some photos later of the official portraits of the coronation, and he won't be in them. I mean, this is a great shame, regardless of how things have been dealt with, and I think there's probably regrets on both sides. It's a pretty sad situation, I think.
But at least the King proposed a toast to the grandson he hardly ever sees at the reception at Buckingham Palace. He apparently raised a glass to Archie.
Yeah.
So he keeps them in his heart all the time, but it must be so hard for a father to have a son so estranged, and then a son so close. With William, you can see the affection between them.
And just that breakdown of the link between the brothers, to witness that, it's never easy for a parent. Interestingly, we've been running a poll asking if you felt sorry for Prince Harry at the coronation. 30% said yes, leaving 70% saying no. So there you go. It's an interesting divide, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Can you relax for a day now?
Hopefully.
Yeah. No more royal shenanigans.
I'm going home. Yay.
In just a moment, I am joined by the royal photographer who had access to the King and Queen all weekend, capturing amazing shots like this. And we'll be taking you behind the scenes of last night's concert, including how Katy Perry took over Windsor Castle.